So
Am I
how
muted?
about I pull those up?
I'm not muted. Somebody muted me.
Pardon? Who
That's
asked?
probably what
Oh,
it is.
I thought someone had this.
Where
All
is it?
right, so pulling up the minutes of last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago.
You did send out the minutes of the last meeting, right?
I did. I,
Yeah.
I remember sending those. We didn't have one last week, so maybe that's why it feels like it was longer.
2 weeks ago.
But we did have a meeting.
Yeah.
We had a meeting last Friday, or
I
No.
think it was the Friday before last Friday.
Yeah.
okay. I was in Miami for a week, so I hope none of you guys try to contact me. And plus, my phone is not working. I found it and it's not working, so I need to reactivate that, and it's a whole long story. But I came 2 days ago, so I hope no one tried to contact me then.
I did, but I'm glad you're back.
Huh? Oh,
I,
thank you.
I did try to contact you, but I was getting worried for a second.
Was it through phone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not working.
Yeah. I know you had told me you lost your phone
Uh,
just before you left.
Yeah, it wasn't working. So every time I tried to look for it and try to call it, it wasn't. I didn't find it. So once I did, turns out, yeah, I need to fix it. Or I have no idea what's going on with it.
all right.
Did you locate the minutes?
Yeah, I did find the minutes.
Oh, you found it? Okay. Any
All
action
right.
item in there?
So just briefly reviewing the action items. Um, and I'll even review the minutes of the last meeting, which include action items. But there was an annual report still in progress. Have all
I'm,
the reports, but need to combine them and have an intro page.
I'm still guilty of not
Um,
doing that.
the other one was follow up with the master, which I think you already did. In fact, I heard you guys had a pretty successful meeting last night with the
Yeah,
marketing team.
it was interesting, to say the least.
Interesting. All right, and then so Lee's daughter got a grant, and I mean I haven't heard much more on that, so I guess that's
Because
that's an action item to find out more about the grant.
you haven't talked to Lee about it, have you?
I believe I emailed him about it, but I didn't talk to him face to face or call him. No.
Yeah, just call him.
All right, so I'll give him a buzz. Another one was for me to put my MasterCard Foundation contact in the school supplies board on Trello. Since Sam was going to apply to that, and I did. Another one was Sam is going to create a script for following up on LOIs and proposals when contacting organizations.
Which he did.
All right, and then Christmas wishes. Christina is going to share with the rest of the team what she's doing to be successful. I haven't gotten that from her yet. In fact, I think she's on vacation until Monday.
Until Monday?
Yeah. I think she went on a 2 week, so I haven't heard from her since then. And I know she was out of town.
Since you
All
told
right.
me that place
Huh?
is 1 hour away from the Gaithersburg Library.
Yeah. She didn't tell me how far she was though,
Yeah.
but she did say she was out of town. So I don't know if that meant because she's originally from New York. So
Oh,
I don't know if that means she's like in New York now or I'm not really sure. So I'll have to ask her. Um, All right, the next one is, the next action item was to be able to get as much items donated as possible that were in our gala budget, and also in terms of the program. And so I know all of us on the team have been really working to reach out to a lot of different organizations, and have been making some inroads in terms of, getting some feedback or at least getting someone on the phone or at least, getting that initial contact out there. You know, we've already got prospects in terms of several things, and I'll give more updates later. All right, then the next action item was Matt would send Priyanka the list of orgs that he reached out to in the past for Christmas wishes, or I would search on the shared drive for the list. I searched on the shared drive for the list, and I found it, and I put it in the Christmas wishes. The next one would be Aware, and Matt and Rachel would be following up with Lee, as she's done a lot of work to create letters, etc., and they would be kind of getting on the same page.
They met at the office 2 days ago.
Great. All three, or isn't there someone else who's working on it, or maybe I'm mistaken?
No, it's Matt, LY, and Rachel, and all three of them met at the office on Wednesday.
All right, great. And then operating expenses, need resumes from Jessica, Victor, Shaw, Lee, Sam, and I already got those resumes and information from Sam. I think the only thing I'm missing in that for that particular grant application is that one form that we talked about, that IRS form that we don't really have. But I was going to go ahead and submit without.
RS 990.
Yeah.
Send me that information, and I'll work out with Jessica how we can include the 990 in that package.
Okay, great.
We're concerned about some privacy issues. So it's a sensitive document.
And then I was supposed to create a list of all the grant writers' team's emails and phone numbers, and I did. And so everyone should have access to that. And I'll include it when I send out the minutes from today, again, so everyone has it. Then we covered Trello really quickly, and about all the different boards on there, and the logistics. And then we just talked about the volunteer meeting being scheduled for July 12th. So I would like to, if someone would like to make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Did you make the motion, or I make the motion to adopt?
Make the motion to adopt the minutes.
I second the motion.
All right, minutes adopted.
Minutes adopted.
All right. Now new things.
Well, I think the good news is we checked off most of the items on the action items list, except for the annual report and
And I think Christina's supposed to let us know about her successes, so that's the other thing.
Yeah, plus talking to Lee about the grant that his daughter got. So we can just put those 3 items in the list of action items for this week. We check those off as well. Anything in particular? I don't have an agenda drawn up for today because I've been out and about. So is there anything in particular either of you think we need to cover?
In general, I just want to bring up the topic on the way we approach the different organizations, because I do realize that Jessica does have some concerns about privacy or sensitive information that she's afraid that will be that she doesn't want to bring out to different companies. But many of these different grant-giving organizations or programs do require very specific details, and they already have so many different applications coming in, so they easily discard ones that do not meet their criteria. So like, I'm asked to send out whatever we have, and if they're interested, they would follow up with us, or they would send us a positive response. But I don't think that's a really effective matter, because honestly, till now, I've applied to more than 120 different organizations in total, and I have not gotten a single positive response. And I feel like that would be the main issue. And I remember Matt was the person who brought this up initially, and yeah, I just think that should be something that we should work on.
I will add to that, because I felt the same frustration, and I didn't even apply to nearly as many as those. But I started kind of changing my approach in terms of the organizations I was looking at, and just seeing if I could get in touch with somebody there who could send me an application, that I'd be able to talk to them, or email them something and then follow up with them and be able to actually receive something from them. And so that happened so far. There were a few like that. There were like 10 organizations where I was able to actually do that, or actually call or leave a message or something like that. And out of those 10, I at least got one, and that's a start, to send me a grant application, which was great because that means they don't usually do that. That means, like, kind of excelled into the next level where they're actually sending us the application. And she sounded interested when I was able to talk with her, the lady in charge of this organization, on the phone. And after talking with her, just simply talking about UA and everything that we're doing, then she's like, okay, I want to send you an application so you can fill it out. I'm going to send it to you. And that's how we got that going. And I feel like, obviously I don't know the fruits of that endeavor yet, but I feel like that having more of those kinds of experiences might yield to something more tangible and maybe even a better use of one's time, just because, like, you're finally, like, getting something from somebody. They have to actually mail something to you. They have to put in the effort to do that, which must mean they're at least a little bit interested.
Yeah, I haven't gotten as positive of a response as you have, because I've tried some of that as well, by trying to contact specific people and asking them for those requests, but I never had any response from them. Some I have followed up with, and still the same thing, just no response at all. That was the majority of my experience personally, but maybe that was just coincidence, maybe, I don't know.
Victor, what do you have to say?
Well, you're both addressing what I thought will be the most important thing to address in this meeting, which is how to follow up effectively. And there's no obvious answer to the question. And I guess what you're raising, Sam, is that you suspect that not having a full list of, not submitting the full list of requirements that these organizations demand automatically disqualifies us. And that could very well be true. So I think we need to address that right away. What I would suggest, and Sam, you might be the best person to take on this role, is to create a folder on the shared drive where we put all of the documents that these organizations typically request in one folder. I don't think we've done that yet, have we?
No, not that I know of.
Yeah.
Let me get paper pencil so I can write this down. Okay.
Now, I have a checklist here, which I'm going to send to you. Typically, the documentations they're requiring is they want a history and a background of the organization. They want to know the organization, your organization's mission and goals, your organization's major accomplishments. They want the board of directors. Sometimes they ask for a list of contributors. They ask for the IRS Form 990. They ask for the 501c3 non-profit papers. Sometimes they request any mention you've had in the press, or any printed materials, or any photographs of some of the events. Some organizations ask for the projected income and expense budget. Sometimes they ask for an audited financial statement. Sometimes they ask for future funding paragraphs, and they ask for staff and leadership biographies. Of all of those items, I think we have most of them. We might have to do some work to put them together. The audited financial, we're in the process of getting. I'm optimistic we'll get that before the month is out. We have the projected income and expense budget. We can put together some press reports and some printed materials. We have the 501c3 papers. I'll talk to Jessica about the IRS 990 form. We have a board of directors. We can put together major accomplishments, mission goals, history and background. So Sam, I'm going to send you the list, and I'm going to need you to create a folder and put all of these things in there. Once I have the RS 990 issue resolved with Jessica, so that we have a place where everybody can go and just pick and choose depending on what the organization is looking for, exactly which document you're going to submit. I hope that addresses your concerns.
Yeah. And we can also, I mean, since there is a concern about the information being open to anyone, I mean, some companies that with big reputable names, I don't think they have any incentive to do anything with the information that we can give them. So to make it easier, especially when I ask Jessica, or like if anyone's going to ask her, we can also mention that only by permission or by a specific company that we will use the IRS 990. We'll actually present it to them, and not just any random company that we find online.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to throw all your documents all over the place, but I think your concern is a little more specific than that. Your concern is if a company is requesting the 990 form and we don't send it to them, based on the rationale that, well, if they call you back and ask for it, then you can send it to them. Your concern is we're being automatically disqualified. We don't even get to the stage where they even consider us at all. So if you don't get to the stage where they consider you, then being able to do something on a case-by-case basis is a moot point. So I think your concern is legitimate, and we're just going to have to. I'll talk to Jessica about it, and hopefully we can find a solution that addresses that problem efficiently. But the other thing that Priyanka was talking about, which is how to aggressively follow up, that really is what I thought we should focus on. So what I thought I personally wanted to discuss. And the reason being, I sent out a list of all of the organizations we've applied to as of the middle of June. I don't know if you got that email, Priyanka. I sent it out to everybody. Did you get it, Priyanka?
Did you just send it?
No, I sent it much earlier.
On Trello?
No. I sent it as an attachment. I had some create a list.
Okay, let me.
What document?
Do you remember what it would be called?
Should have showed up in your mailbox.
I'll look up your name first and see.
Yeah, maybe like 20 minutes ago, maybe half an hour.
Okay. Oh, you probably sent it to my UAA account.
Yeah, I send all my stuff to your UAA account now.
By the way, my dad said that he shared that stuff with his colleagues, and he received some positive feedback. So I'm not sure if they donated already, but he shared the fundraising kit.
That's awesome. Remind me to send him a thank you card.
I'll let him know. So I mean I don't know how to track. Well, I guess I could ask him to ask them if they've submitted, but I don't know if they have or not. But I know that he received some positive feedback.
So going back to the subject of effective follow-up, on the list that I sent you, there are roughly about 200 organizations that we've sent LOIs or applications or we've communicated with in one form or another over the last 4 months. Well, since February, 4 or 5 months now. And I think we're getting to a point where the number of prospects that we haven't contacted yet is getting smaller than the number of prospects that we already contacted. The universe of a potential matches out there is a lot smaller than the, what we've already come in contact with. So I think the most effective way going forward is to focus more aggressively on the follow-up, but less so than getting more prospects through the door. I'm not saying we should stop prospecting. I'm just saying we need to shift our priorities because there really is no point, and I think that's probably the frustration I'm starting to hear. I'm getting the sense that there's frustration building in the office. People are getting tired of just sending applications with no results, and that's understandable. Uh, but if we keep doing exactly the same thing, I'm sure you've heard the famous saying, the definition of insanity is doing exactly the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So we need to shift strategy, but we have to figure out how to follow up effectively. So in that vein, that's why I think what Priyanka mentioned earlier is very important. In my experience, you have to set yourself up for success from the very start. So you have to prepare yourself from the moment you're submitting those applications. You have to be prepared to do the work to follow up on those applications um, in a timely fashion. What I mean by that is one of the key things to have when you're submitting an application is as much information as possible that will facilitate your follow-up. And that's one area that we haven't done as good a job as we possibly could. When I go through a lot of the prospects we have on Trello, a lot of them don't have contact phone numbers. A lot of them don't have the names of contact persons. A lot of them pretty much don't have any means to follow up on that initial contact that we made. Now, getting that contact information is really where the rubber meets the road. Bless you.
Thank you.
If you have any chance of being successful with your application, it only comes from having that contact information. If you don't have that contact information, your probability of succeeding is almost zero. I mean, occasionally you get a situation where the organization has too much money and they don't know what to do with it, and they are just praying for you to send an application. And as soon as the application comes in, there's a big party in the office because they finally got an application from Sam, and they start chasing Sam down and say, Sam, you know what? I know you had no way of reaching us, but we need to reach out to you so we can give you all this money. As you can imagine, that kind of situation rarely happens. So two things I want to suggest that we need to implement aggressively going forward. Number one, we need to go back to all of the applications we sent. And if there's any of them that doesn't have any contact information, we need to go back and do the research and update those applications with the contact information. We need to go back and do that right away. And then going forward, we need to be more thorough about researching and getting that contact information when we're putting the application, at the time we're sending those applications in. Doing that, I think, helps us to accomplish two things. Number one, it gives us the capability to effectively follow up on the applications we sent, and it makes our follow-up process a lot more efficient going forward. So that's one change I'd like to see implemented right away. The second change I'd like to see implemented is that subsequent meetings that we have, the discussions we're going to start having is itemizing the follow-up we've done over the previous week. I really want us to go thoroughly over, so the discussion isn't going to be so much how many applications you sent out. It's going to be, let's go over, who did you speak with last week? What was the response that you got? What do you think we can do to better build a relationship with that organization to the extent that we stand a better chance of being able to get a positive response from the organization? That has to be the tone of our conversation going forward, because the first half of the year, we spend that first half essentially building up experience. I think we've gained enough experience now that we can now zero in and get some results. And I think if we do that very aggressively going forward, I think I'm very optimistic, just from some of the responses we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, that in a matter of a month or two, we'll be getting some really good responses. I know I've said a whole lot, so I'm going to throw it out to you guys to see what you guys think.
That will give us an opportunity for, if we're already looking for contact information, and let's say that's our number one priority. Okay, if we're going to apply to this organization, let's make sure there's some contact. If there's no contact, and if it's becoming increasingly difficult to find a person at all, maybe that's an organization that is not going to be fruitful. So maybe we look on to a different one, and kind of keep that in the archive, or just list it and maybe look into it later. Because sometimes I feel like I'll find organizations like that, or I know when I was first starting, I was just kind of sending it to, big name organizations, but I didn't really have a name, and it was really hard for me to get a name, and even when I called, I'd be put on hold, and I would never get through to anybody, and so I felt like that was not a fruitful place to look. So maybe it's not just the follow-up, it might be even just like where we're looking or who we're targeting, and we'd definitely be able to find out whether it's going to be worth our while if we're trying to contact them before we even submit anything.
Yeah, we need to make a shift from quantity to quality, because it might end up taking you as much time to search for that one quality prospect as it would to search for 20 prospects that end up being a waste of time. So I think we've all gotten our feet wet. We've gotten some experience on. We have all have quite a bit of experience now. Now is the time to get serious and make sure we're successful. Sam, I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, personally, if I do come up with a company that has minimal contact information, I wouldn't just disregard them. I would try anyway, because just from the, what are the chances? It can happen, so I would just do it either way, but I'm not going to spend as much time on it from now on. And like Priyanka said, and what you said, focus on the quality, and go with the strategy that Priyanka mentioned, which is trying to contact them before, seeing if they actually do respond, to get a better better understanding if they're going to contact us.
And in terms of the names you're looking for, if you're applying to a foundation, I know a lot of the applications you've sent, Sam, you send them to corporations as opposed to foundations. If you ever send an application to a foundation, you're looking for the program director, or they call that program officers. That's what you're looking for. Because they ultimately are the ones who make decisions about what grants, or at least what grants applications they're even willing to look into at all. So if you don't get past the program director, you're not getting anywhere. With the corporations, typically some of them have a Department of Social Responsibility, something like that. I know different corporations have different names for it. but like corporate citizenship is another name, social responsibility, and you want to find out, get in contact with somebody in that department, whether it's the head of that department or a staff in that department. But these are fully functional departments whose uh, reason for existence is to interact with people who are submitting applications like us. And so you want to make sure you talk to somebody in one of those departments. Um, I do know two things about some of the applications, Sam.
Mhm.
A whole bunch of the applications that you sent to me on that list that you created, especially from back in June, are not on Trello at all. I don't know if you noticed that, Sam.
Are not on Trello?
They're not on Trello. If
The ones
you,
for the school supplies?
yes,
They're all from June, but I copied and pasted exactly from Trello.
well,
Hold
if you,
on. I'll
I
look.
should-
I can check.
if you look at the list that I just sent back to you,
Hmm.
I sent you an attachment. Uh,
Here's
if you look at I had the organizations numbered from number 47 to number 74 is not on Trello at all. And I searched around very thoroughly.
Can
Most
you
of
guys
them are,
see this?
yeah,
Okay. So this is the school supplies grant tracker.
yeah. But if you are, is there any way you can pull up the document that I sent you?
Sure.
Uh,
If you can share that screen with us,
Let me see if it's here.
the Word
Okay,
document.
hold on. I'll have to. It X'd out. Oh no, it's right here. Sorry. Nope. I might not be able to access it, but I'm gonna try
All right.
because it
Your
says.
screen share might not be able to pick it up.
Well, it's saying loading, so I'm not sure if it's gonna. I've been having problems accessing the UA email today.
So just in the interest of time,
Yeah.
those are two. And if you already have them on Trello, that's fine. I apologize. That's a mistake on my part. Uh, but a lot of the organizations don't have contact information. And I know a lot of them you already put on before we had the first conversation we had, where I told you that it would be a good idea to include the contact information and you were going to go back and, and update all the ones that you submitted back in June.
yeah, I haven't
So
done that yet. Yeah.
yeah, I know. So that's one thing I need you to focus on now.
Okay.
Uh, not so much. I'm not saying stop looking for new organizations. I'm not saying that. But instead of 5 organizations a day, you can cut it down to 1 or 2 new organizations a day. So if your typical day is you're getting 5 new organizations, cut it down to 1 or 2, and instead research maybe about 10 organizations that you already submitted.
Okay. Sure.
That's the kind of ratio I'm looking for. And then I'm going to, if you can go to Priyanka, if you can go to the Aware Grant Tracker 2014.
All right. Okay.
Or if you get that potential donors, there's a card called template.
Yes.
If you take a look at all the information that Lee, LY has here, that is very, very good information to have. Um, like program emphasis, if you research the organization thoroughly, the organization will give you what their program emphasis is, the types of programs they support. They'll tell you the average gift that they typically give. They'll tell you their giving history, what kind of organizations they funded. If you close that out, if you close out that card, and then I think it's called On Hit Foundation, the one right on the template, the card on the template.
Mhm.
Uh, that might not be the one I'm looking for. Yeah, if you can close that out, let's see. Let's
No.
try. Let's try that. I know there's one of them. Let's see. Yeah, let's try that.
Which one?
Uh, I know. Yeah, try that. If that's not it, then forget it.
Yeah, if there's comments, it'll show, but I don't think these have comments on them.
Yeah, if you can find one that has comments on it,
Sure. Here's one. Look,
you can look at all that information.
it's got they don't want any calls or in-person visits. Submit blah 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 to this person. They have like all these details. They'll
Now,
respond within 3 months. They don't want to be contacted before then. I will say, Victor, that's what I get a lot too, though. So that would be my other concern. I'm not going to get off topic too much, but I'll often get a lot of these. Like they'll respond back within 3 months. So for some of the ones that I maybe applied to in March, like I still haven't heard back because some of them take 3 to 6 months.
well, at least we know.
Yeah.
At least we know, and we can create a. Well, one of the things we need to start doing very, very aggressively. Um, if you go to the school supplies page, the school supplies
You guys
board.
see me take notes. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. Can you see this now?
Yeah,
Okay.
school supplies.
So we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave you guys this suggestion, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I
All
can
right.
talk about that a little later, though.
I'll look into it. Um, can you scroll further?
Mm-hmm.
You see all those due dates? We need to use due dates.
Hey, I applied to them.
Yeah,
The
they actually just
family.
responded. They just responded back to me.
Yeah, they told me no.
They told you no.
Yeah.
They actually outrightly told you no. We're not going to fund you.
Here, I have it in my board. Let me pull up. I think I have the response in my board.
But you see those due dates? I want to see due dates on every single card.
All right, let me put that in the action item.
So if you know that it takes 3 to 6 months to respond, then put a due date about 5 months out.
You still sniping?
Yep.
Because that's the only way you're going to remember to contact them in 5 months. If the response time is 1 to 3 months, then put a due date 3 months out. But you've got to put a due date on every single card. Because if you don't, I mean, how do you know when to follow up if you've sent out 120 applications? It's impossible. It's just humanly impossible. You
I
get
have some of the due dates on mine, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, we need to put due dates on every card. Uh, if you can go to the Christmas wishes event.
The event?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. If you scroll down, see these are the agenda, the the card, whatever that thing is that says agenda.
Yeah.
See that first card, it's got labels on it. I think that's Christina. And who's the other person?
Me. Oh, so it's got members assigned to it.
Yeah. I also want to see, however you do that, because I couldn't figure out how to do that.
So this is what you would do.
Yeah.
Add members,
Okay.
and then you can add your members
All right.
to
So
that.
going forward, I need every card that each person puts on. That card should be labeled with that person's name. Because what I want to be able to do is when I go to Trello,
You know what you're responsible for.
you know what you're responsible for. I also want to know if I'm looking for what Rachel has done, I want to be able to just go to Rachel's cards and see what Rachel is doing. If I want to see what Ariane has done, I want to be able to just go to the Christmas wishes page, look for her labels, and be able to find out what she's done. So those three things we need to implement right away. Go back and get all the contact information on everything you submitted. Put due dates on every single card. Label every card with your name.
I will say that for okay. So what I will say is that for some of the other people, like
Yeah.
for example, I know some people have been who did Christmas wishes before, like they sent out the letters and things like that, and they gave me this list, this long list of all the organizations that they reached out to. But that's a lot for me to go through. How should I approach that? Or for people who have sent out like so many, how do we approach that in the interest of like, time and things like that? Or do we just, okay, we have to bite the bullet and really just go back through that list and get all the information?
We have to bite the bullet. Otherwise, it's a question of do we want everything we've done to be wasted, or do we want to try to salvage something out of it? So we have to bite the bullet, go back and go thoroughly through everything we've done and do it right. So if you want me to arrange that, you can send me the list and I can figure out who sent what and instruct them to put it on Trello themselves.
I think this is Arian's list. So I'm going to put a member here. Yeah, that's her list. So I'll just add that. I'll add her to that so that she knows to go through that.
And now here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to send out a notice before the next meeting, long before the next meeting, that outlines what each team member should be prepared to report on when they get on the meeting. We'll make it a lot more efficient. Just go through this checklist. This is what each one of us should be prepared to report on when we get together every Friday. And that way, I think the next phase is once we start, once each one of us start reporting back on our responses, then we'll be able to start talking about what's working and what's not working. At this point, we're not even there yet. And that's the conversation we need to start having. We need to get to a point where somebody says, I talked to this person, they said this, I don't know how to deal with it. And somebody else says, you know what, I ran into the same problem, this is what I did. Right? And we need to start strategizing about how to most effectively be able to cut through any of the obstacles that we might be running into. At some point, not right now, but once we get everybody else on board with the program, I'm going to try to create a spreadsheet that reflects all the conversations we're having at any point in time, like a snapshot of all of our conversations. What we have on Trello right now is everything we've sent out, including the ones that haven't responded. But as soon as we get a response, I want to create a spreadsheet that we can begin to update those responses so that if you take a look at that and everybody's name will be on that spreadsheet, you can take one look at that spreadsheet and be able to tell all of the conversations that we're having as a complete team all at the same time. I think we'll get to that stage in about two weeks or so. But for now, those 3 or 4 things that I mentioned is what I'd like to see us get done right away. My concern is getting Rachel, Ariane, and Matt on the same page. Because for some reason they never get on these calls, and I'm trying to. Do you have any idea why, Sam?
Not really. I know Rachel, she's out of town. That's on her part, I know that. Ariane and Matt, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it might be because it's a Friday night. I don't know if they have anything, but they didn't give me any notice.
All right.
I know I used the same email that I used last time for Matt. I know he joined last time. For Ariane, she had some internet problems last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago. But I communicated with her and I gave her all the information. But she said that she would try to make it. But that was a little bit of time, or that was a little while ago. So, but I know she tried to make the first one that we had where we invited her, but wasn't able to.
I think Sam has a point. We didn't have all these single boys and girls when we instituted the Friday night thing. So maybe we might consider moving the meeting from Friday night.
I would not mind that.
So
I
we
wouldn't
don't,
either.
so we don't intrude in people's social lives. But Sam, can you at least find out from them if that's the problem?
Sure, yeah. I can ask that.
Before we start taking some radical steps here
Okay.
and changing our entire schedule. If other days works better for them, let's consider doing it on a different day. But these meetings are really important, and it's not too much to ask any of them to get together for 1 hour once a week. If we intend to be successful, unless they're just passing time sending out applications, but I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
That's it for me.
I think everything you said has a lot of merit to it, and I appreciate the suggestions.
I guess we're good.
All right. Well, it's 8:03, so that would work out fine.
Sam, you're gonna be at the Gaithersburg Library tomorrow?
Yes, definitely. And it's starting at 11, just to be sure, because
Okay.
everyone's been saying different times.
I got 11.
I got 11 too.
It's 11 o'clock there.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
See you guys tomorrow.
All
Yeah,
right.
and I'll send you an email reminder about all the stuff I said, Sam.
And
Especially,
I took notes of it too, so I'll make sure to send that soon.
Sure. And I wrote it down here, so
thanks guys. Have a good night.
All right. You too.
good night.
Good night.